everybody, welcome on into Tomes. I am Jason, I'll be one of your hosts. I am joined by my awesome co-host Cody.
What's up, guys?
And today we will be continuing our book club for The Shadow of What Was Lost. But before we get into that, allow me to start off with the usual announcements. Just the usual, we have a beautiful and wonderful Patreon where if you decide to support us, encourage us to keep making these episodes, continue book club, or whatever you want to do with us. We have a Patreon set up where the lowest tier is $3. It's a one-time payment. You can just go through, pay it, and you get access to our Discord where you can talk directly to ourselves, get the latest updates on these episodes, and hopefully if we get more of a following, we actually can hire artists and get that kind of stuff going, so that way we could do like a art giveaway and all that kind of fun stuff. So other than that, first off, we'll do fantasy news. So to start off with, we'll go with kind of the most recent, being a lot of Star Wars crap happened this week, like good criminy.
It's true, there's been a lot. Right now, The Mandalorian is still going out. The Bad Batch just concluded, and there was a very major incident with that. And then from there, it goes on to everything that happened with the new movie reveals. And some, one that we're excited for, a couple that are meh, one that's meh, and one that's just no.
Yeah. So start off with, actually I believe this week was the release for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the second game. Jedi Survivor.
That's right.
So
Survivor, yep.
yeah, I'm wanting to get it because I loved the first one because, I love Respawn Entertainment and the games they make. Like, I love Titanfall, and the way they've incorporated this, it's basically like Titanfall with lightsabers, and I love it. It's like a Souls game too, at least when it comes to the battle mechanics, and I suck at Souls game, but I rock at Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I've only played a little bit of Jedi Order, the first one, but it was really good and really fun. I am definitely interested to see the second one.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Or play it.
So first off, I need to get Harry Potter and then this one, which I should be getting my first big boy paycheck.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, working 40 hours. Yeah, 40-hour weeks. Finally get a nice, good, big paycheck. So
Yo.
none of this 20, 30-hour bullcrap that I've done. But anyway, I digress. So first off, I'll start high with I'm excited for the Star Wars Ahsoka series because that was my favorite Star Wars villain. Oh, I love Thrawn so much.
He is awesome. I loved him in Rebels, which you need to watch still.
Yes, I do.
Tell you what, this is the next thing. If we get 5 Patreons, I will have a sit down and I will make him watch the entire thing of Rebels.
Yes. We will make it like a marathon weekend kind of thing. We'll get as far as we can.
We'll have our own series dedicated to that. Like Book Club, we will have a Rebels.
Yeah.
I'll be the next one. After we finish this book, we'll start the Rebel series.
Yes. We'll start from the beginning. And actually what we might do is we might just do that like a live stream. So that way it's just like as we watch it live, I can pause it, do reactions and that kind of stuff, commentary along the way. I think that would be a lot of fun. So, and again, that would be really cool. So if we get 5, just 5 people doing the Patreon, we'll do it.
Yes. We'll come up with the exact thing and all that, but Yep.
Which I still need to actually finish the first book of Discworld so we can watch that movie.
Please don't.
Don't finish? Don't do them? Okay. But, dude, I have like so many books I'm reading right now, but again, not as much as like you did with your Russian literature. For me, it feels like a lot.
I'm done.
I know you're
Russian lit is done. I'm so glad. I love the class, don't get me wrong. It was awesome. I learned so much. Some really amazing things. But
the reading,
it was so time consuming.
Oh, I bet.
I literally read, I think, 10 books for that. And there's a bunch of short stories in some of those books.
Oh,
so I read a ton of stories. It was awesome.
Yeah, actually, I'm almost done with Dune. I'm almost done with the first book of Dune.
Way to go!
Like, and dude, well, we might do a discussion on Dune and talk about our theories on how they're going to do this part 2 one of these times.
We could do that, or we could wait until part two comes out, and then I could take things from the movie's perspective, and you can take it from the book perspective.
Yeah, because there's one thing I'm curious to see how they do because towards so Dune is broken up into three parts. Like there's part
Mm-hmm.
one, part two. The movie covered part two. Like I want to say like honestly about three quarters of it. The last quarter of it, there's one only event, and then we go into a 2 year time skip.
Okay.
So I'm curious how the movie's going to integrate that because one thing that happens, the last part of it, is very important because it's with Jessica and her with the Freeman. So
Okay.
that needs to be shown. If not, I'll be upset.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a 2 year time skip, which I'm curious to see how that goes. Unless part two is going to be mostly from the Harkonnens perspective, like I could see how that could go. But anyway, that's an entire Doom theory kind of a thing. Or we could just wait till the movie comes out and then I can give my opinions on that.
Maybe we'll do a thing right beforehand, and then
Yeah,
something after.
yeah, that sounds like a plan. But either way, we're getting off track.
Okay.
We're talking about
Okay.
Star Wars
Other
and
news.
Ahsoka.
So, so the Star Wars Ahsoka show is going to be awesome. We love Thrawn. It'll be really great to have him to watch that series. So yeah. So what was the other news that you had?
Again, we're just going to. I was thinking we could just cover a lot of the Star Wars celebration because the thing we're not so excited about is the new Star Wars Rey movies.
Yeah.
Nay. Just
Yeah.
can we just burn it? Can we just burn that? Like I don't want it. I don't want it. Who wants it? I don't know anybody who wants it. I feel like as soon as they made the announcement, every single Star Wars fan is like, ugh, I thought we were done with this.
Yeah. I am. I'm not excited at all for it. I'm probably not going to go see them.
I'm not.
I
Like
am.
it's one of those like I am a huge Star Wars fan, but when it comes to race crap, I'm just like I'm done. I don't care.
Yeah. That last movie kind of left a bad taste in my mouth where it just felt way too thrown together. And
Past
I
two
mean, really,
movies.
the past two, yeah. The last two,
Yeah.
especially, just bad taste in my mouth. Just don't really care for them.
Yeah. If you want our more in-depth review, go ahead and check out our episode of the movie tier list where we actually cover it in depth.
Linked in the description below.
Actually, I'll probably put a tile or something like that right around here, so if they want to go watch it, they can.
There we go.
Because YouTube is cool like that. Anyway.
It's true. But yeah. And then I am actually kind of excited for the first Jedi. I'm curious to see if they do the actual first Jedi or if they're gonna do the like predecessors to the Jedi, or what they're
Yeah.
actually gonna do with the origin story. Because I know a lot of that is legends, as isn't actually canon.
Yeah, so actually from what I understand is like they have this entire timeline of like Old Republic, High Republic, all that kind of bull crap. But they
Yeah.
have what's called Dawn of the Jedi, and actually that is a Legends book that I don't think they have converted it to Legends. So it's very much
Okay.
in the ballpark, which okay, this is where I'm going to get onto my hot take with Star Wars here and the feminist movement real quick. This is where for them this might be a good book to go with because the main character is a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is like honestly, this was for me. This book was done very well from a female protagonist perspective. On talking
Okay.
because basically with it, it is the Jedi, like the Jedi order,
Mm-hmm.
where it's very much there's the two moons. One represent the light side, one represent the dark side, because they're both basically force focal points. And when someone and the Jedi order was more about the balance on being both light and dark, is holding that balance. So when one is swinging too much to the other side, they will actually send them to the moon with that other side to bring them to basically cleanse them, so to speak. So like if one is drifting too much to the dark side, they will send them to the light side moon. If one is drifting too much to the light side, they'll send them to the dark side moon. So that way it can
Okay.
try to balance them out. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious on how they're going to take it because the story is actually about twins, about a set of twins, a brother and a sister. Brother, I think, goes missing, goes AWOL, and sister's trying to find him. So if that's the story they go with, I'll be interested to see it. So that's one I'm like, I'll wait to see the trailer. Ray,
Yeah.
don't give a single crap about. I'm not even going to bother with. Then the Dave Filoni movie, I'm interested in. If it's they're trying to do an homage to Heir to the Empire.
I think they are. So I think what they're gonna do is this whole TV series that's been interlocked, The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett. I am coming up now with the Ahsoka series. I am and a few others that they've talked about. Bringing them all together, and it's going to come to a head as the movie. I bet it's going to be titled Heir to the Empire or something like that. I don't know if it actually has a name. I didn't see,
Yeah.
but if it doesn't, I would call it Heir to the Empire, and I would have it be a Thrawn movie. That's the entire thing, that all those people come together and it's trying to take down Thrawn because
Mm-hmm.
he they
The
need
dude's a
everyone to
genius.
take him down. He is.
That
And
dude's
as much as the people in Rebels were mostly kids, and I am just I mean, not mostly kids, and just two of them, but it's still, they didn't feel like an overwhelming force against someone like Thrawn. They were always on their back leg with Thrawn. And that it was really cool to see. They ended up being able to at least take him out of the fight and the end of it all, but obviously they didn't kill him, and so it's really interesting to see what's gonna happen. I mean, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm not gonna ruin any more of Rebels for you. So
no, and actually you really didn't because again, the parts I've seen of Rebels, because I've seen clips, this is the thing I absolutely love with Thrawn, is the fact that he doesn't really underestimate anybody. Because you look at the group of rebels, he's not like, they're kids, they're not going to cause any problem. He's like, so we have another piece on the chessboard. That is his
mm-hmm.
mentality. It's just like, what can I use them for? What is their utility? How can I use them? How can I use them against my opponents? He never really goes, they're kids. They're not going to be any bother to me. No, he treats all of the people that are around him as assets. He views them as tools, so to speak.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that he does in Rebels, it's just kind of a side thing that doesn't take to the story, it just adds to his character.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main characters is an artist, and everywhere that they go, she spray paints stuff and leaves her artwork behind. Well, he has an entire slab of a building, like the side of a building, inside of his office with her artwork, and he just studies it and just learns about her from it. And at one point, he's talking about it and he goes, "Yeah, definitely seeing how she's changed and improved, and like is so admiring of just her artwork." And just talks about how her artwork has changed her and how she's changed over the series. And like, it's just amazing. Like, just through her artwork, he tells that about her, and that just shows his character and how insightful he is.
Like, and
It
that's the
makes
thing I
you
love with
love
Thrawn.
him.
Yeah, and that's the thing I love with Thrawn is in every respect, he is at least in my mind's eye, he's not like a bad guy. Like he's not like bad like Palpatine. He's very much more on like if he worked with the New Republic or worked with the Republic, boom, he would have just dominated. Like
Yeah.
it's very much more on he is loyal to whoever he serves. It is that loyalty that he brings his mastermind and his master capabilities with. Don't get me wrong, he can be very manipulative, but that's what makes him a great general. Is because
Yeah.
that's kind of what general does is manipulate his enemies.
Yep.
Which is why I love the Thrawn books, especially the new ones. The first one is quite literally like the Art of War by by Thrawn. Like that's how each chapter starts off is like his insight to warfare.
Okay.
Like it is really cool. Like I highly recommend the new Timothy Zahn Thrawn books. There's grand total of 6, 3 for like him actually being part of the Empire, and then 3 books prior to him going to the Empire.
Okay.
So it's really good. I highly recommend it. So okay, now we'll switch over from Star Wars
Yes.
to so Amazon real quick. Rings of Power got a major dip. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So say there was a fire on set. What else happened?
So the biggest headline was the fact that after its original release, only 31% of watchers finished the series. 31%. So a third of the people who started it were able to finish it.
Whew. Oh, that's rough.
Oh, that is just horrendous when it comes to ratings and everything. So at this point, everybody at Amazon is believing that Rings of Power is cursed because of the fire on set. Like, it wasn't a small fire either. It was big, and they were trying to downplay it. But
Yeah,
also, a horse died.
that's right. That's what the other thing was. Yup.
Like, in one respect, I'm like, I feel like Tolkien is haunting them. It's like, you screw with my IP, I'm going to cause havoc on your set. Which they're
Yeah,
also wanting to start CGIing the horses.
I know. It's gonna look so bad.
Like at this point, I'm just like, Amazon, just cut your losses. Just cut your losses.
Yep. If you're gonna CGI everything, just make it animated.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Which actually brings us to another one that I just remembered. Live action Moana.
That's right. There's also
Uh,
a live action I am Brave.
yeah. Although I feel like the Brave one hasn't been getting much media attention, to be honest.
It hasn't. I just saw that the actress who's gonna play Meredith. I saw her on TikTok
Hmm.
that she announced that she got chosen for it.
Yeah, I saw
That's
that
where I
too.
saw. Yeah.
That's just like, oh yeah, they're also doing live action Brave. Which this is going to be my personal opinion here. Disney's out of creative ideas.
I think you're right.
They really are. If they're rehashing, and honestly, I'm sick and tired of the live actions. I am so sick and tired of them.
Yeah.
Like, can we just stick with the animation? Like, animation is great. Animation is fantastic. The stories they told were great. But really, Moana's not even that old. Why are we doing a live action for something that's not that old? Like,
Yeah.
it's because I think Disney's just like, can't come up with an idea for a new movie, so let's just do a live action. Yeah, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on because there's still plenty of ideas left. And there's plenty of things out there to do, but I guess they just don't want to do it. Or they can't think of those ideas, and they're trying to find what's going to make the most money. And they're just like, well, let's rehash the same old thing because it's worked in the past. I
Which for Hollywood is very much more like they're afraid to take risks now. That's like the biggest thing is like that's why we're getting that kind of same bull crap over years here.
Yeah. So I saw a post about this, and I have to agree. Can you name me a show, one of the like popular shows today, um, that's not some sort of detective show?
Oh, that's not a detective show? Oh shoot.
Because Supernatural,
I was
they
gonna say Supernatural, but
detectives.
even still, it is a bit of detectives.
Exactly. It's all detective work. It's just for that. Same with Grimm, Psych, Castle.
Yep.
Like, go through on what are the other popular shows?
You say popular shows. Yeah, no, a lot of popular shows nowadays are that. Actually, my parents are watching a show called Last Ship,
Yeah. What's
which
that?
that was not exactly a detective. That's more like apocalypse. But
Okay. But I'm
but
guessing
again,
that
it's
they
not
still have to figure
popular.
out what's going on, right?
Yeah, there's still don't get me wrong, there's still a
This
detective element.
and so I just had that pointed out to me, and I was like, oh my, yeah, that's pretty much all the different shows. And there's differences. So, for instance, like Modern Family, I'm going back and
Mhm.
watching that with my wife right now, and that one's not. But as a whole, pretty much all major shows are just a variation on the detective. Lucifer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lucifer is again Green Arrow, like Arrow, all that stuff. Yeah, detective show. Barry Allen, he is the forensics detective. Like, actually, there's one show I stumbled across TikTok. It's in Britain. It's called Mrs. Brown and Her Boys.
Okay.
It's funny. It's a funny, again, it's a good old classic sitcom, but Mrs. Brown drops the F-bomb a lot.
That's hilarious.
And actually, Mrs. Brown is played by a guy.
Okay.
It's like Mrs. Doubtfire. It is Mrs.
Yeah.
Doubtfire, but an Irishman is playing it.
Oh, that's even better.
Like, it is hilarious, and I absolutely love it. It's so funny. Like, one of the ones actually I showed my mom today was like Mrs. Brown, her kids sitting all down having a meeting, talking. It's like, okay, we need to tell mom about this. That we need to get the dog into like a home. We need to take it somewhere else because it's just causing havoc.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, mom loves that dog, and immediately cuts to Miss Brown's like, I hate that effing dog. And then, of course, it's the classic stereo sitcom comedy bit where she's in the kitchen overhearing. It's just like, yeah, we need to take her to a home. Yeah, she'll be a lot better and happier in a home, so that way she can be with the other bitches. And immediately she's just like, what? And just like hiding. And it's just like, oh yeah, it's very sad. It's like her mind's going. She doesn't know where she is half the time. And you can just see the characters around going like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, the saddest incident was that she in the garden the other day. Yeah, she was just pissing herself like from one end to the other. And the saddest part was she didn't realize it. Cuts to her like mopping the floor in the kitchen, using the mop on herself. Like, it's a good old classic sitcom where it's just funny.
That's awesome.
Like, it's very much more on like, we are missing a lot of the good stuff nowadays, where hate to say it, like, don't get me wrong, most of Hollywood, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the writing, it is formulaic. That is what makes profits.
Yeah.
But I'm just so sick and tired of the reboots, like HBO Game of Thrones prequel, because they haven't grind out the Song of Fire and Ice IP out enough.
Yeah.
And of course, the Harry Potter series. Good criminy.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm kind
there's
of
two
mixed
camps.
on this.
Exactly. And I'm in between the two camps.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, so what is your opinion? I want to hear yours first.
I am hesitant to think that's going to be fantastic, but HBO does do a good job. The shows they produce are always high quality, and from what I could tell, as long as they have the actual source material, they stuck to it. And I know the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, but they didn't have those books because Martin hasn't put them out yet.
They had to go off script. It was very much like a Full Metal Alchemist, the original versus Brotherhood kind of instance.
Exactly. So my thought with this will be a fantastic way to get all those little things that they missed, and it's going to be a great chance for the characters that we love that didn't get the right screen time to really shine. So characters like how make Ron who he's supposed to be, make Hermione who she's supposed to be, make Ginny who she's supposed to be. Let those characters shine in the way they actually are in the books, instead of Hermione being she's great at like literally everything and has no sense of humor and like that whole side of things. Whereas in the books, where she's like, yeah, I'm just going to set a teacher on fire, and I'm just going to capture this lady in a bottle and shake her around. Things like that. Where, there was so much more to her character, and there's so much more to Ron's character. Ron is not the comedic relief. Ron is the one who was so intelligent when you're in the middle of a crisis. He's the one that kept a level head and kept everyone else focused.
Yeah. So, again, the two camps I see is, again, the camp A, where everybody is excited for getting the little details that the movies missed out on. Like, again, this is one of the reasons why I really want to get Hogwarts Legacy, is that people are quite literally putting the audiobook audio over a scene that they're doing in the game, whether that be describing the
Yes.
Hufflepuff common room, describing the Ravenclaw common room, or even the room of requirement, how it accesses and how it opens, on how exactly you get it open. It is
Yeah, because they paid attention to the details.
exactly. So it is. I want the HBO series to do those little details, and honestly, I'm glad you brought up the fact that it's HBO and not Amazon doing this. Because if it was Amazon, I would immediately discredit it, going, okay, you know what? Nope. They're going to screw this up with the source material, because that's what they did with Wheel of Time. That's what they've done with Rings of Power. Whereas HBO, they have
Yeah.
kind of stuck to it. Because actually, I saw one guy on TikTok complaining. He's just like, "Oh, great, we're going to get like a Black Ron," and for
Yeah.
and for me, I was like, okay. And this is where I'm thinking back to. I was like, well, if HBO does credit to the source material, I hope they do stick with the characters in that role. And because we already got a couple people of color in Hogwarts, but still, there's because again, Dean. It was Dean, right? Dean or Seamus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Dean. I believe that is African American. Or wait, African English?
I was waiting for you to be like, wait.
I was like, wait, he's not American. He's a person of color, okay?
Yes. And so yeah, but I honestly don't care anymore if they start flopping like races and things like that. The thing that matters to me is if they stick to how the character should be. Yeah. So for instance, I'm one of the big ones. So Percy Jackson in the series, I am the character who plays Annabeth.
Yeah, Grover.
Oh no, the new TV series. The girl who's playing Annabeth,
okay.
she's black, and the thing with there's no problem with that. Even though Annabeth was a blonde, the thing is that she can still carry that character with the same thing, and all those same problems that she was facing, she can bring her own to it and make the character unique to her, but still have it feel like Annabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where, as long as they can bring the character and make the character feel like it's still that character, even if it's like they have a little bit different problems or they have a little bit different things here, as long as it's still the character and it feels like the character, that's what truly matters. So that's my personal take on it.
Yeah, I agree. It all comes down to comes down to the acting. But for me, it's always those little worries and concerns that they're more focused on the representation than the actual character. That is my concern. Is I want to make sure, again, yes, I do want like the best actor to play the best actor, but I was actually laughing. I was just like, oh, by the time we get like a white Cho Chang.
Oh man.
I was just like, okay, let's make sure we at least do it where it absolutely needs to happen, okay? Like,
yeah,
that's my thing. Just where it absolutely needs to stay in concert with it.
yeah, and that's fine. So, and obviously there's things like that, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be pretty decent. At the same time, I have a very great love for Alan Rickman. I am.
Yes,
and
like, dude.
So
I think they're gonna get to replace Snape.
The only person who I've seen as a possible replacement is I just forgot his name. The guy in Star Wars plays Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Gosh.
Yeah, he matches the look.
Yeah, a lot of people have talked about him being a young Alan, like a young Snape.
And they get Daisy Ridley to come in as Lily.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, yeah.
Adam Driver.
And yeah, they get then Daisy Ridley to come in as Lily Potter.
That would be funny.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
That would be.
But
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just for me. I feel like they're rehashing a lot of the stuff. Like, sorry, we still do have the movies. The movies aren't that old. And yes, I'm saying this as I'm realizing they came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which
Movies have been
I'm
remade
trying to
sooner.
not.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Very true. Spider-Man's been remade like 3 times.
It's been remade so many
in my
times.
lifetime.
Yeah.
But again, and for me, it's just more along the lines like I want to see something new. Want to see something that's just not rehashing of stuff that we already know that what works. Want someone to take a risk and try something new, like The Shadow of What Was Lost, our book that we're reviewing today.
Very smooth.
Very smooth. I love my Dean Kamen moments of just segueing to the topic at hand.
No, but honestly, this book has been amazing. I know we say that every time we talk about it, but this book keeps getting better and better.
Honestly, this is where these 5 chapters, it made me do kind of a little bit more of a 180 on my thinking of it a little bit. Because I was like, I feel like we're missing a lot. Then we get to these chapters. I'm like, I know what I was missing. Here it is. I was missing this. And now I'm like, all right, I'm hooked into the story. I know what the goal is. Let's get going. Which, good criminy. Like again, I will.
Let's start from the beginning.
We'll start with chapter 15. Which,
Yes.
15, again, a little bit happened, nothing too crazy, just they escaped the assassin that was after them, and they're...
Mm-hmm. They are able to kill it, and there's one of 4.
And Terrace finally leans in and is like, okay, who the heck's tracking you? Like, who's got the sense on them? Who is it tracking?
Yeah.
It's
and of course, it's Were.
Gosh, like, dude, throughout all this, actually, I'll get to what I was thinking towards chapter 17, and as we got into chapter 18, I was like, yes, I called it!
I just wasn't even surprised. I'm just going through and I'm like, yep, this is exactly
For me,
what
it was
I
just
thought.
like pinpointing exactly who it was. Like, I believe it is this, but then I got the confirmation. So, anyway, going forward, this will be spoilers as we cover chapters 15 through 19 of The Shadow of What Was Lost, the first book in the Lysanias trilogy. But yeah, chapter 15, they escaped the assassin, and then Terrace, however you pronounce his name, shows them like the scale.
I'd say Terrace.
Yeah, Terrace.
Yeah, the snake human.
Yes. Oh, what?
The half human, half snake creature from the past. That you like, it literally sucks the essence away from them, and that's how they theorize that they were seen as like unkillable. It's because the magic wouldn't work on them because they would hit it with it and it would just absorb it and feed off of it and grow stronger. Yeah. Which is a really cool way to do it, but I have an issue with this.
What's your issue?
Isn't the wall made of essence?
Huh. I think you're right. Or is it made of their bodies?
If the wall is made of essence and they feed off of it, it would just make them stronger and stronger. And they would just be able to make it through. And I guess it could be that it oversaturates them to the point that they die.
Or it could even be like 8 acres.
That was my one thought, is if they feed off of it.
Well, and maybe that's something we'll learn as we get more into the book. Because, don't get me wrong, we've gone through it, I'm just like, okay, I have other questions now.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're like, oh yeah, no, actually, the reason we told everybody it feeds off essence, what it actually is, it's made up of the scales of these snake humans, like these snake people. Like, I think that would be kind of a cool idea. Like they took the scales and bodies of these snake humans and put them in the wall, like the Great Wall of China.
Okay, so here's a question for you. is the wall a physical
Oh,
wall?
good question. And that's one thing I'm curious about. Is like, is it a physical wall? Is it like a physical chamber, or is it like an essence, like psychic wall?
I don't think it's
Yeah.
physical. I think there might be certain posts going around to like strengthen it and
Mm-hmm.
relay. Potentially that's how I picture it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a physical wall.
I was just thinking.
Or if it is visible at all, it might be like a
Yeah.
shimmer, but I don't picture it as like a solid wall.
Yeah, I was very much picturing it as like kind of a psychic kind of barrier where it has basically poles that collect the essence and then push it out into it. And so maybe just the way the essence is done is a
Yeah.
way that the snake people were actually get hurt or stay trapped in there. But as over time this wall is breaking, it is crumbling, they're able to start sneaking through. Because maybe the way the essence is done is it's more of a
Mm-hmm.
repellent that pushes them against it like a big old bubble. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But so
Hmm.
let's see here. Yeah, that kind of covers chapter 15. Them saying, okay, they're going to make their way to the capital, so to speak.
Yeah, so they're heading to the capital of the country they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Yeah. Basically everyone's already starting to be distrustful of each
Mm-hmm.
other.
Yeah, they're starting to wonder who's.
And then it gets to
Yeah. Then we
16.
get to 16, and we finally get back to Asha.
Well, yes, which is the best part of the
But
story.
again, like this is where I'm.
Look, I really enjoy
Oh,
Asha's
me
side of
too.
it.
I love Asha's side. And actually, as I've been reading through this, I'm looking at the story I wrote for NaNoWriMo, and I'm actually planning on changing some of the way I've structured it. Because everything I've written, I'm like, you know what? I think those would work better as flashbacks or as memories instead.
Oh, okay.
So that way I can create this allure for kind of what
Yeah.
they did with Were in this book. Have that for one of my other characters instead.
Okay. Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be
or
fun.
even just like I have a little bit of snippets from her past there, and then have the main focus be the main character. But anyway, getting sidetracked a little bit. But yeah, Asha, oh my gosh, I love the chapter she's in. Like they're so good and so interesting. It really kind of it's very much the exposition that we are wanting, but it's told in a more organic way.
It is. Um, it's really well done. I am. Yeah. So brief summary of chapter 16. I'm just going through to make sure I get this chapter correct.
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah,
yeah,
the North Warden, who's the brother to the king,
Duke Elosian Andrus
is basically sitting in her room as she walks by.
walks in. Yeah.
Yes. I am. Yes, she goes into her room, shuts the door, and then he's suddenly there behind her with someone else, a manservant, which I called from this moment. I'm not gonna lie, I called from this moment that it was an augur.
Okay. For me, I didn't. I one point I was like, okay, maybe an augur, maybe just like personal. But I was thinking along the lines of augur, but it was one of those like I think it is, but I'm not confident in my thinking. It was one of those
Yeah,
moments for me.
I was pretty confident in that.
I was not.
I- but yeah, so I so I could easily tell what's going on, but my thoughts are going to other parts of it and other parts of the story. And so I just have to say this. This is one of the few things that bugs me. It's something I've talked about before. That I've even done and I just don't care for
Mhm.
it. And it's when a prominent character whose nobility or like a very wealthy individual, it feels like they have a fake persona where they're not like he's just way too casual with Asha.
Mm-hmm.
And things like where he kicks down the door to the council and then or like kicks in the door to the council and looks at her and goes, it's fun to keep him surprised, and then walks in. And it's little things like that where why would he show this girl he first just met that side of him?
And for me, I think the one thing that I was like, okay, I can kind of get it, is Asha was sketching her friends, and I think he might have saw one
Yeah.
of the friends, and was just like, she knows him. She knows him deeply, and so if it's someone.
Yes. And he knows that.
So anyway, let's just spoil it, okay? Do you want to spoil it, or do you want to wait till we get to that moment?
Oh, I'm still doing this. I was right from the first moment that we are suspicious
Yes,
of
you
it.
were 100%
I We're or Torin. His uncle is the king. His dad is
North
the I just forgot what it's called again. North Warder. Yeah, North Warden. And so he's royalty, and he's the first of the royalty to be one of the gifted. And so he was there. No one was supposed to know because his line's not supposed to have the gift, as they're the ones that can change the tenants. But it requires someone in the government, so one of the king or his brother, and one of the gifted. And because he's both,
he can make the change.
can change the tenants. He can just change it to whatever he wants once he becomes the one in charge. Once his dad dies.
Yes. So, the reason why we're bringing this up now is because Duke,
so it's really
Duke
cool thing.
Elocian Andrus is Wur's dad. So that's why I was like, it makes a little bit more sense why he's just like, you gotta keep on his feet, because in one respect, he's trying to show off to his son's friend. Like, that's why I was like, okay, maybe that's why he can trust it a little bit, why he's a little bit more willing to trust it. That's the only thing I could possibly like draw that conclusion.
Well, it's not. Yeah, so it's not that I don't trust it. It's not that I don't. I think he's very genuine. In fact, he gives me kind of a Dalinar vibe, as he's used to be this tyrant type person, but is now much better.
No, okay, glad you said Dalinar too,
which I know
like,
you were going to see as well.
Dalinar archetype.
Yes, I am. But the thing I love with Dalinar is even though he changed, he's still the same person.
Yes.
He just sees things differently now. This guy is completely different. It's not the same person whatsoever. And so when he goes to court, when he does all these things, he becomes that individual that is a tyrant still. Yeah. But then in private, he's not. And then it's also just that thing of like I said before with my campaign, The King, where he's just way too lax about things. No, this is nobility. They shouldn't be that way. It was supposed to be a subverting expectations type thing, but it bugs me now. And so that's the only reason. I still really enjoy his character, and I really like the plot that comes around what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, I would like to see the tyrant side first, and then him slowly softening. Kind of like what we see with Dalinar, where, again, in Way of Kings, we see his progression. We see the way Dalinar goes, okay, I need to change the kingdom. How am I going to do that? How can I invoke the change? I've been listening to The Way of Kings. I've been having it read to me. There's a lot of philosophies. There's a lot of good ideas that I think we should be implementing. We need to go back to what we were thinking of first, is like, we need to fight the Parshendi as a group unit together as a kingdom. We need to show that solidarity. We need to, and you could understand Dalinar's character progression. Whereas this one, I would have liked to seen the character progression in this.
Yeah.
And we kind of see it a little bit in chapter 19, but we need a little bit more. It's almost like we jump straight into Words of Radiance, where Dalinar comes in, frees Bridge 4, and is like, come with me, boys! without any of the pretext of what Bridgeport just did. It has
Yeah,
that kind of vibe to it.
I am. And I guess that's one of the common themes with this book is there's so much that happened before that we don't get to
Mm-hmm.
see. And that's what I would love to see it starting with that. I would have loved that this series, I mean, as big as it is already with this trilogy, that it did become a 5 book series, a 10 book series, and each of them this big, starting off with that war, starting off with the tenets being written, and that's the very beginning where this is the tyrant, and then he finds out his son has the
Yeah.
gift, and it softens his heart, and he starts changing, and he's like, why did I make this so absolute when I could have made it so it just restricted instead of controlled? Now my son has to go through all this because of me, and see that change in him, and see him become this other person.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have loved a full book dedicated to what happened leading up to this.
Oh crap. Still there. Okay. But yeah, no, I completely agree. We needed to have that kind of book where, again, I think that's the only con I have with this book, is that it's very much hurry and get to the chunk of the story. That's very much how I feel with it. Whereas, again, as you mentioned, like it would be nice if this was I would say at least a good 5 book series. I don't think 10 would be quite there
No,
because,
yeah.
again, Wheel of Time. Don't get me wrong, I love Wheel of Time. Okay, and I know this is taking a lot of pages out of Wheel of Time. I'll be honest.
Yes.
But I really do appreciate like the condensed and easy to read nature of this
Yes.
compared to Wheel of Time. But it's still very much hurry and getting to Davian's story, which again, that is kind of what this book is about. But I would have loved to have, again, I think the 5 book idea, I think that would have given it enough to where we could start off with, uh, yeah, let's see here, Elocian, the Duke, where his dad, beginning that process, seeing him struggle, seeing him confront his own doubts and everything with it, to where we see him take the one augur in under his wing
Yeah.
and start utilizing him and still have it be, I'm using him because he's useful. He will spot someone and gather me information. He's more of a tool to me. To where, and he slowly switches over. It's like, augurs aren't that bad. We just need to utilize them and give them refuge and not let them get drunk with power. We need to have checks and balances and have that progress that way. And then word goes off, and that's where you meet Stavian and start going from
Yeah.
there.
No, I definitely.
So that's how I feel with it. Is just, yeah, we need to have the slower progression in that regards. Whereas this book, again, it feels very much hurry up kind of mentality. And that's where I appreciate the next couple of chapters, is because it goes from let's hurry up to, okay, we got to the part I want to talk about. I'm going to slow it down and we're going to talk about it.
It's true. And that's the other thing I have to remind myself all the time. This book is 700 pages. And he's rushing through things in a 700-page book because of how much there is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
it
nitpick.
would be nice if, like, instead he slowed it down. Yeah, it's a nitpick. Like, again, the story, everything with it is great. I just feel like if he was able to spread this out to 5 books, I think that would have allowed us to slow down and really drink in the story, instead of, like, I feel like we're guzzling it instead of actually ingesting it.
Yes, I am.
We're inhaling.
But that's how you know it's a
speak.
good book, when you want there to be more.
Correct. Like, it is a fantastic book. There's a lot of great and amazing elements within it, and I'm excited. And that's where, for me, these chapters hooked me. I'm just like, I want to know more. I want to know more. We're getting to the good stuff. I want to know more. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I feel like I'm now immersed enough in the world where I can appreciate the more subtle details that he's now able to dive into at this point.
Yes, I agree. I am. Yeah. But yeah, so that chapter 16 I'm all that happens.
Asha
Go
begin.
ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say chapter 16. The Duke actually takes Asha in under his wing and under his protection because he's trying to find out personally firsthand on why these attacks are happening. And so she's going with him to actually get the answers she is seeking.
Yeah. Well, so it's less why they're happening. He knows why they're happening. He's trying to figure out who, and he's trying to figure out
Who?
how.
Yeah.
I am. And he's trying to find out where his son
Yeah.
is because he knows his son was not among the dead.
Yes, I was saying from her perspective, she was wanting to know why.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, from her perspective, she wanted to know why, and it seems like he had the reason for
Yes.
why. That's why she decided that, yes, I'm going to go with him.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, I know why. I'm just now figuring out who's the mole.
I am. And a really cool thing, though, is that he actually gets her appointed as a representative of the council for a toll to the kingdom. I am. And that, especially as a shadow, is huge. And he does it all in the guise of it being an insult to the council, which is fantastic.
Yeah, he's just like, middle finger, I don't like you guys. I trust a shadow more than I trust you.
Yeah, I think and what comes up later, it's even more ingenious. And I actually really appreciate the thought that went into that.
Exactly. And that's where I'm like, I want to know more about, where's that? I want to know more about the Duke.
Yeah. Me too.
So, but now we get into 17, where we're going back to Davian, we're Antares, and they get to basically the arena match. Yes. Which I just gotta say, this chapter was long.
It was.
But it covered so much.
It did, and I thought it was really cool. Just there were some parts that felt like a little bit more. It was there for the sake of exposition, but it was needed for the story at the same time. And so it was really cool.
Like the
priest and those coins. I thought it was a really great thing. But it still felt a little convenient.
Yeah, it did feel a little convenient, but I just think it's funny that the priest, it has to be absolutely hammered.
I know. Well, that month is the month of indulgence, and hammered was the least of all of them.
Which, dude, I'd be afraid of the one that's about sex. Like, oh, good lord, we're getting slutty.
Yeah, so basically what's going on is that in this country, they're very dedicated to whichever god you choose. You choose one, you stick to it, and you live by it. Well, one of the gods, they have basically every other month is a dedicated thing where it's a month of complete like a month of hunger, then it's a month of gluttony, there's a month of what was all of them that listed,
month of pain, month of indulgence,
month of like
month of pleasure.
So yeah, like, and so half the year there's a month dedicated to these things, and it's part of the religion to actively participate for the clergy, and it's stipulated by law. So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, this is where you're like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not. In that time, I was like, okay, I'll be glad I'm not a holy man as a priest in that. Like, it's one of those things like, oh my gosh, dude, he has to get hammered. Like, this isn't like, oh, I'm getting hammered for fun. It's like, oh crap, it's this month. I have to get wasted.
Well, the cool thing is that they're speculating that this guy's most likely a spy.
Yeah, I think that's cool. If he is, that's
yeah. I'm liking the subtleties they're throwing in now, because there's 2 more books. What's the likelihood that this is going to come back up later? Pretty great.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see how it pays in the long run.
Even if it's
and especially like with the coins as well.
And even if it's just like a little nod to it later on. So like okay, so this is me with what I think is going to happen. I know they've been setting up for Davian and for Asha to be a couple, but I think it's actually gonna be the Were and Asha. I think Davian's gonna go with his cousin.
I can see that. I can see that. I think that'd be
I think
nice.
it'll hilarious.
I'd ship it. I'd ship
But
it.
I
I'd
could
ship
totally
it.
see that like later on he's starting to Davian's starting to learn more things about the government, and then this priest just like walks in and is like, "Okay, I'm done being undercover." He's just like, "Hey, I know you."
He's like, peace.
So.
It's like, hey, how's it going? How's the wife? And actually, okay, this is where I'll give a little nod. This is where I very much loved and appreciated this in Wheel of Time with Rand.
Yeah.
Is later, like seriously, towards the end, he basically has 3 wives. Okay, I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
It's basically, yeah. He never marries any of them. They're like all concubines. 2 of them are pregnant. Like 2 of them bear his child. Actually, all of them bear his child at some point. But nonetheless, one of them is a ruler. Like she is the queen at the end of the book, at the end of the series.
Okay.
And they're having an entire town council meeting and strategy for the last battle. And I just love this part where she's just like, she's mad at him, but she's never been more proud because of the way he handles himself politically.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
Like, actually, it was Egwene. Yeah, Egwene is just like so pissed at Rand, and she looks over to because again, the ruler and her were like best friends during their time at the Aes Sedai headquarters, the tower, and she's just like, I'm sensing that she is proud of him. It was just funny. It was just one of those. So if they do a nod to like Wheel of Time in that way, where it is Davian and his cousin,
Yeah.
and where's cousin, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. I'm just like, hey!
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it actually is because I'm pretty sure that he's like 3 years younger than her. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was just kind of funny. I just had that thought. I was like, I could see something like this happening.
Yeah, me too.
But
Like it's a fun ship. It's just fun.
But yeah.
Yeah. Then we get to the big reveal at the end with Wur saying, hello, cousin.
Yes. She's the princess, king's daughter, all that. So
yeah.
Going back to the fight. Because to me, though, I know it's supposed to be a big reveal with the whole cousin thing. I wasn't surprised at all, and so to me, it wasn't a big reveal. Yeah. And so for me, I'm enjoying these other little things a little bit more. For instance, he threw that fight. 100%. He threw that fight 100%. So they wouldn't go to war.
He had to throw. Exactly. He's just like, I could have beaten him easily.
Yep.
I had to give him a good show, though.
And that's why he's sulking after.
Are you not entertained?
I know, right? Oh, man.
We need that needs to go on to the tier list because I don't think we've done Gladiator.
And the reason for that is because it's technically a historical drama.
It's history.
It's less. I mean, it is fictional, but it's not fantasy, and that's why I didn't include it on the tier list.
Okay.
It's just a fantastic movie.
Okay, makes sense.
It gets history completely wrong, but it's really entertaining.
It is a fantastic movie. It's solid. I need to rewatch it. But nonetheless, but yeah, the gladiator fight, he absolutely threw. And I loved how Davey and all of them were like on the edge of their seats, like, oh, this gonna be good.
Yeah.
And Davey was like, why did he lose? For me, I think this is where I love Davian as a character, is because he's just a normal guy. Like, he's normal in his response to everything. He's not like, oh, he threw this match. I could see it in the way he walked. He's like, oh, come on. Like, he's the everyday man in expectations.
And the things that he saw, just like, man, like, this guy's amazing. Oh no, like, oh, he's suddenly losing. Because it goes from he's parrying it like nothing to suddenly his sword gets knocked away and he's like, what? No! And he's just sad and he's like, he just lost. He thought the guy's a better fighter. And then he's like, why is he sulking?
He's like, why is he sulking? And it looks like he looks perfectly fine. He looked like he may have gotten a workout.
Yup.
Like, that fight was good.
All those little things.
Oh, I
love
love Terrace's interaction with, I want to say, Dras?
Yes.
This is where we're now finally getting more into Terrace's kind of backstory, which I'm like, ooh, what happened with him?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we're going to get that covered here in a bit, but I'm still wanting it.
So, do you think that Terrace was as brutal as they said he was?
I think he was brutal, but he did not do it in that enjoyment that they were like saying he did. I thinking it was more on like maybe he was trying to cut something out because they might have all gone insane or something.
Okay.
Or like because okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but the tenants, they have the mark on them. Like there's a mark on their arm.
Yes.
So I'm thinking maybe the mutilation was to remove something to that degree of like there was, again, this is where we need to know more about the essence, the enchantment, and what it can do and what it can't do. Because I was very much thinking it's like maybe the essence, maybe someone like quote unquote put a spell on them to drive them crazy and he had to like defend himself. Or something along those lines.
So this is what I do know of the story, is that this group of people attacked Davian and Terrace protected him. Terrace said he didn't use any essence whatsoever. He beat them with his fist. And with a knife.
Yes.
And so that's where the knife comes into play of mutilating them with it. And so he doesn't break the first tenant because he doesn't use magic to harm them.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think he snapped. I think that years of being oppressed and being
a whipping boy,
yelled at and all that, I'm being talked down to, that in this moment where he started off by defending them, that at one point he was going to prove a point and took it too far. So I think he is capable of that. I think he did do it, at least to some degree. Maybe not to the extent that they said, but I still think that there's going to be some truth in that.
Yeah, but this is where I'm with War. I don't think he did it like out of like, aha, I love the bloodshed kind of thing.
No.
Like, I think he had a purpose and reason behind it. But don't. But again, that's what we don't know, which is why the story is so enthralling, like enticing, is because now we want to know more. We want to know Terrace's backstory on what did he actually do? Did he mutilate them as they said, or was it just the knife wounds and that maybe he was just not well accustomed to knife play and it looked more like mutilation because he's just like, oh crap, I got the knife stuck. Like, again, what I did was a gross under exaggeration of like, oh crap, knife stuck in his stomach.
Have you seen the movie whoa, I just forgot what it's called. It's with Adam Sandler. Him and his wife get invited to this really rich guy's anniversary party or something like that. Okay, I'm pulling it up. I just watched both of them. They just came out the second one.
Okay, yeah, it's the new one that's on Netflix, right? The second one just came out?
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but it does look
Murder Mystery. It's called Murder Mystery.
Okay.
So, on the first one, the person who gets killed first, he gets stabbed with this like curved Chinese dagger, and there's like, oh no, like he's dead. We should take it out. And so a guy goes and pulls the knife out of him. And Adam Sandler is a police officer, and he's like, no, no, you don't do that. He goes, oh, okay. And so he shoves it back in.
Oh, jeez.
Because it's curved, it doesn't just go in. He has to like wiggle it. It's really funny. It's a really funny movie. I definitely recommend both the first and second one.
Okay, we'll do. And
But
actually,
anyways.
no, what you just said actually made me think of South Park.
Oh no.
So no, basically the boys, they find Chinese weaponry for cheap. Like we're talking ninja stars,
Okay.
katanas, all that, and they like do like anime fights with these things. But they actually
Yeah.
chuck the ninja star and it impels Butters in the eye.
Oh, it
And
gets Butters instead of Kenny?
yeah, actually, this is where it was funny. Is yeah, it gets Butters again, doesn't kill him, but he still has it like stuck in his eye, and they're trying to pull it out. They're trying to pull it out with like tweezers, and they're like, "Oh shoot, we can't let anybody find out. We can't let our parents know. We'll get grounded." So they dress Butters up as a dog, and then try to take him to the vet with the ninja star still sticking out of his eye.
That's hilarious.
Like it's just, dude.
Gosh.
Anyway, brutal. Again, sorry, I got distracted by brutal accidents. Just,
All right,
so
but
again, I'm curious with his backstory to see what actually unfolded.
me too.
So, chapter 18, Wer and Kara are talking.
Yep. I'm. It's the good reveal that they finally tell. I tell Wer, and then Wer ends up telling Davian about the school, the academy that they're at,
Yeah,
and what
that's how
happened there, and how everyone's dead.
that's how the chapter ends. But I love chapter 18 for it. This is what I was hoping for, where we get an actual breakdown and interaction of the the politics in the greater scale of it. We actually see Wer really in his element. Like I loved that.
Yes.
Like
I did
Wer
too.
is
It
my
was
favorite character
really-
right now.
He's up there for me too. I'm not sure who my actual favorite is, but
And say,
he's definitely a great one.
yeah. And actually, okay, I think I figured what was making me kind of like and also hate this at the same time. This has very much a D&D kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Where, again, the author, of course, being the DM, is telling the story. He's withholding the information, and it's kind of almost us as the player, as Davian. As he's going through it, we're just like, okay. Wer just went off with the princess. I wonder why. What kind of trouble did he get into? There's no way he's a prince, right? Out of character? He's a prince! He's a prince! How can we manipulate this so we can actually find it out?
Yup.
Like that's how I feel like a lot of this is the DM has a lot of stuff going in and just like, aha, we're pushing this, we're pushing that, I'm kind of railroading it. And the players are like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. It's time for you to tell him.
Yeah. Whereas with the scene with Kara, I love how we actually see the reasoning, seeing the argument, and seeing how it actually all plays out. To where Kara can't exactly take them back home without causing suspicion because it would be more trouble than it's worth. Versus her just saying, nope, no help. You're screwed. Best of luck.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of their interaction is how she just like throws all of the things that he believes about Terrace under the bus. Just they're all gone because every time he brings something up, she's like, "Of course he's gonna say that. Of course it's gonna sound this way. That makes like, if you actually stop and think about it, just think that doesn't make sense."
Mm-hmm.
And it starts casting more and more doubt on Terrace, and that's why I don't trust him as much anymore, is because of her and her logic from the outside. She sees the outside picture of it, and I really enjoy that. I still, like I said, I don't think it's as extreme as she thinks, but I definitely think her side of it has more truth than his side of it did.
Yes. And actually, I think what I really liked with this chapter as I was thinking about it is that now we finally know what side to root for, whose side we are on in everything. We're on Wer's family side. Like that's the side we're rooting for. So we're trying to figure out how they're going to do it, how they're going to succeed, how they're going to do all this. So in my mind's eye, I'm finally glad that we have a team to root for, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because here's the king, here's the duke trying to make a better life and culture for the gifted. We have who we're already attached to. Okay, we have someone tied to the family line. So I'm glad that finally we have that kind of team to root for, to see how they can exploit it the best. Because again, beginning of it, just like, okay, who the heck side are we on? We have Davy and we have okay, we have their adventure. Asha's getting screwed left and right.
Yep.
Who the heck do we support? And then finally we have the team like, aha, we're rooting for the royal family, specifically the Night Warden. Let's go.
Yep.
So if anything, I'm glad we got to this chapter, because now in my mind's eye, we're like, okay, I'm finally fermented in I'm going to say fantasy standard ground. We have a team we're rooting for. We have a quest. We have a goal. We have a destination. All right. How are we going to get there?
Yeah.
And so that was what very much this chapter was for me. And
I definitely have to agree. I don't think... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and even still in chapter 19. Anyway, go. What were you trying to say?
I didn't articulate that in actual words or even like cohesive thoughts, but I definitely agree. Now we know, and while it may change in the future, at this point, we know who the good guys are, and we know, like, we have a general idea of who's on our side.
Yes.
We don't know everything, but we have an idea of who's on our side and where we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are now characters in this book.
Yes. And it no longer feels like we're wandering aimlessly. Now I feel like we actually have a ground, like we have a point that we're trying to go forward with.
We now have the fellowship.
Correct.
It's that whole thing of, in the first part of The Lord of the Rings, until they get to Rivendell and the fellowship is created and the purpose is started, it's all just... We're just trying to survive. It's all wandering. We have no idea what's going on, but we're trying. And now we have a purpose. We have a group. We're doing this to this to this. We're going to do it. And that's the point we're at.
Yes. And so I'm really excited to see now how all these new characters, from the Duke to the Princess, see how it all interacts in this grander and bigger story.
Mm-hmm.
Which, oh my gosh, I loved chapter 19. Oh my god.
19 is good. I have one more thing from 18. I'm sorry.
Okay, go for it. Sorry, I wasn't sure.
Who do you think is going to be the person that Kara sends with them?
Oh, the knight. I think the knight would be cool. The one who lost the match.
100%. 100% it's going to be him.
Because, oh my gosh, I could see like one avenue that they go down with is just like, so... What's your relation to the princess?
Exactly.
Like, just him being the covetous, like, crush. Who's just like, who is she trying to get with? I saw them hugging. What is their relationship? Are they seeing each other? Are they courting? She could do so much better. Like, I can see, and I want to see that.
I know. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. And it's going to be hilarious. And then he's not going to say anything. Won't say a thing. And just, like... keep kind of like throwing things back at him just to get at him, and then finally oh my gosh, Davian.
Yeah, Davian. Sorry,
yeah.
Davian.
Davian's gonna have enough and be like, he's the freaking prince, they're cousins, shut up.
Like, there's no romantic interest there, just ew, gross. This ain't Game of Thrones. We don't do incest here.
Exactly.
Or
and then we hit chapter 20. I'm joking. I haven't read it yet. But chapter 19.
Okay, real quick. Actually, the first line in chapter 20 work were woke for a few blissful moments. And for a few blissful moments, I'm like, okay, not cousin blissful. Anyway.
It's okay. Chapter 21 is "Were yawned."
Oh, how dastardly that rapscallion. Alright, so chapter 19. Oh, I
Yes.
love how now we're getting into this. Like, oh, yes. Sorry, this is my bread and butter. I love this kind of stuff.
Yes. This
Where
chapter 19 is amazing. It's getting into all of the political intrigue.
it is like all political intrigue, and it's just like, ooh, the stuff I was waiting for. Yay! Like, I love the concept of the journal. I love all of this, how the augurs are now like being spies, and oh, it's so cool.
It is. It's such a great use for them.
Oh, fancy! Like, seriously, like it's one of the best uses for them right now.
Oh, yeah.
And especially the Duke. Okay, yeah, we'll pay you for your augur that we will now use as a spy.
Yeah. And I
Like,
love that. So I love that Melosian, that he introduces them as the three most important people in the city.
yes.
That is incredible because there's him and his brother, the king,
The people
and
who
yet
made
these are
the
the
actual
three
tenants.
most important.
Yes, the guys who actually made the tenants are like, yeah, no, we're nothing compared to the augurs. These are the most important people. We already did our job. These are the guys who are like keeping everything intact.
And that's why I really want to see him get to this point of where he's at, because he's supposed to be so different. And I want to see how he changed. I don't mean to
Me
keep going back to
too.
that. I just
Oh no, this is where I'm like, I love Eloshian, and I
I
wanted to know his character development to get here.
I need his redemption arc.
We want his redemption arc. But in one respect, this is where I will compare one character that we didn't see the redemption arc, but we love him nonetheless. Uncle Iroh.
It's true.
So again,
It's very
Uncle
true.
Iroh, Uncle Iroh's S
He
tier
is.
right now. Eloshian right now. I'm sorry, I'm off with B tier right now. He seems
I
cool.
was thinking that too. Yeah.
He seems cool, but we don't really know him yet, so we can't give him a good standing. But from everything we're seeing, so honestly, what I might do is just kind of going forward, kind of keep like Uncle Iroh in the back of my head, just in the fact that,
Yeah.
you know what, he went through some stuff, and this is where we're at currently. Hopefully, we'll learn and divulge more into his actual story and history and his mindset, because I think that's the one
Mhm.
thing I wish we had more of in this book is other people's mindsets. Because and which some of it is like, again, I could understand the direction he went with on, that kind of creates the mystery on, you don't know what the other guy's thinking, you don't know the other guy's intentions, whereas it would be kind of cool to see those intentions like I see in Dune.
Yeah.
So again, it's like I understand the direction he went with, but I'm still curious on what if we got that interpretation of it.
Hmm. Okay. What did you think of the vision that Aaron gave to Asha?
I thought it was very interesting.
Do you think it's true? And if so, how did they do it?
How did they get the memory?
No, it's Aaron's memory.
Mm-hmm.
So all the corpses, all
Mm-hmm.
the people, I'm it's they're not just killed. It's almost as if it's done through essence, but they're all shadows. So how would they do it?
Huh. So what I'm thinking is that as Asha goes through and works more and more with the government, the more and more she works with it, of course, she's going to get her own attendants. She's going to get her own group of people that she works with. Because those are the people that are being hung, correct? Because that was kind
I'm
of my interpretation, is like all the people like she personally knew, so to speak.
oh, so the what he showed her was his own memory. So this is what Aaron
Oh,
actually saw, and this is something that he came back to, and this is why he
okay.
personally hates the Sanhedrin or
Yeah,
San whatever it's.
the shadow group.
Yeah, I know it's not Sanhedrin. I know that's the Jewish parliament leaders
Yeah.
back in the day, but it's close. Word
The
close to that.
Shadrian, I want to say.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so it's more what did they use? Because here's the thing that describes them. The hallway was lined with bug-eyed corpses, shifting and turning gently in an eerie slow motion dance as they hung from the rafters. Some of the distended faces stared blankly at her as she
Like,
steadied herself against the wall.
I
So
waited for a moment. Okay, yeah,
I know that
I'm
these
reading
ones
it.
are all just hung, but how? I just remember that there was something talked about. I guess maybe they did just hang
I,
them all.
yeah, I think they just hung him. I think they just lynched them all.
Oh man, it's almost worse.
Yeah.
And it's just this.
So at that point, because if it is just a straight up lynching, then it was again, it's a lynch group. Like
Yeah,
it's just like those. Uh, what Skira? I want to say was his name. The guy who's like the head of the group.
yeah,
He might have his own like Gestapo, so to speak, his own secret police that would go through and do this. To
yeah.
which this is where personally, this is my theory, is that as Asha goes through and works with the government, and since she has a personal tie to Wer, and when Wer steps up into his office of power, once he becomes the ruler point, like the figurehead, she could become basically the voice of the shadow people, but that's where there is a political struggle within the shadow group itself. The struggle for power, struggle for supply, struggle for survival, where she can then be the voice of it. And that's where Skyra's power is being threatened. So that's where I could see the conflict turning. It becomes more of the political intrigue on who can win the shadows to their side.
I could definitely
Whereas,
see that.
yeah,
And
and he's doing
Skyner,
it.
Skyner.
Skyner, yeah, Skyner. I knew it had like Scott in it, but I can't remember how it exactly was. But
Yeah,
yeah, like I could just see that kind of development.
definitely.
But
There's so many great things though.
like there, like
Um,
seriously, like chapter 19 was jock filled with good information, and the way it was told was good. It was very interesting, very intriguing, and just I love the way that we begin to see how the augurs get utilized, and that the augurs aren't these all super powerful beings, that they have strengths in one area, and they can do stuff in other areas, but that's not their main strength. Like
yeah,
with Davian, we can say, okay, he is really good at detecting lies, but how good is he when it comes to visions? How good is he at reading people? We don't know. Whereas with these augurs,
yeah.
there's one that's really good at reading people. There's one that's really good at visions. There's one that's. It's just very interesting to see how all these augurs interact.
I don't know what the third one's good at either.
I have no idea.
I heard that like, and there's other one that's we don't know.
I don't know. He's good at something. Which for him,
Yeah,
it could be
but
the
we'll learn.
memories. It could be the memories where he's able to show them to other people.
Yeah. So
But
I'm just excited. I'm excited to learn more about the augurs and learn more about this group. I'm really
yeah,
interested why that one Cole is so I'm
like
ho-
distrusting.
hostile. Yeah,
Yeah,
distrusting, hostile towards Asha. I know they said that it's hard to trust new people, but I'm guessing that he got betrayed by someone close to him, probably like a best friend or a girlfriend or something, and so it just throws it back to that.
yeah, or it could be that she is a shadow, so there could be the stigma related to that. Or again, that's where we're curious to see where the story takes us. Like,
too.
again, I love this book so far. It's easier to read and easier to digest than Wheel of Time. So I'd say if you like Wheel of Time but you want something a little bit simpler, I'd definitely recommend The Shadow of What Was Lost. If you want
Yes.
something more complicated, more complex than Shadow of What Was Lost, then Wheel of Time it is.
If you want something even more complex than that, I'm not gonna go there. Anyways,
Okay. Well, I think
I
that is a
haven't
good
read it, so I
place-
can't actually say.
Oh, Wheel of Time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just throwing things out.
It's all good. It's all good. All
But
right,
yes,
so I
that
think
is a good place to put the bookmark.
Yeah. So we'll catch you guys next time, and thank you so much for tuning into Sounds.